right about all of that, you know.
Okay, I'd like to welcome you all. So this is the, thank you for coming out on this cold and dreary night here in October, Lafayette. This is the Lafayette Homeowners Council, and we have an annual meeting every year that we have very quick business on, but we like to feature different activities. We focus sometimes on the candidates' nights, and this time we thought it would be great to talk about all the activities having with housing and things like that. So we asked Susan Candell, who's been, at least from my view, following much of this. So hopefully we'll have good information for everyone. Couple of things, just where, I think everybody knows where the restroom is, you know, where there's water, so everybody knows how to get in and out of there, so you know that part. The Lafayette Homeowners Council, we advocate for homeowner groups and homeowners. So we're looking for what activities in the community benefit those groups. I'm going to say started in the mid-'80s, is that right, Carol? I can't really remember. Mid-'80s by some homeowners groups, homeowner associations. Some are incorporated, some are just neighborhood groups that are just people are affiliated together. So we do try to keep a list of that. If you have any information for us, we'd be happy to update our list so that we know who's sort of a contact point in each neighborhood. Also, we run a pretty low budget, but we do have the homeowners groups do provide some donations to us. So we have another donation sheet out there. It helps offset some of the cost of the operations. And then some other documents out there showing you sort of the activities we take care of. We write long letters, sometimes attend meetings, follow-ups, other things. Okay, so with that, I wanted to introduce the members of the board that are here. So again, I'm Mayor Booker, the current president. I have Carol Singer, maybe you know, she's our vice president. Lynn, Dean, there we are, there we go, the secretary. Carl, DeGiorgio, all right. Susan Candell, I'm sorry, Susan Candell, sorry, I don't know Susan Candell. Jim Landers, one of our newer members right here. Who else do I? Christine, she's from the Burton Valley area, and Naomi. Who am I missing? Aaron, he might come late, he said, and David Todd. So, okay, so that's our board. We always look, we have other people with this. Lafayette's a volunteer community, and we love other people to get involved in that neighborhood. So you can always inquire us on our website or send us email. So, all right, with that, I'd like to turn it over to the mayor, and I'll let you get started.
Thank you. Can you turn the microphone up a bit?
No,
Is the
you could be a little closer. All right.
We'll try to go closer. Hello, everybody. I'm Susan Candell, Mayor of the City of Lafayette. And very first off, thank you, LHC and Bill Booker and everybody else. You guys have been such great partners with the city for so long, and everybody appreciates everything that you do. I also want to introduce my city manager, Naroop Srivatsa. And so Naroop and our city clerk, Joanne Robbins, run the city. 100%, these ladies run our city, and they do such a great job. And people are saying, oh, I'm sorry about the turnout. Trust me, it's better. And I was a fellow city council member, Stella Witherspoon, who just joined our council. She's here too. Crowds like this actually make me really happy because it means things are going well. Because people show up when they're angry about something going on in your city. And so I take this as a very positive sign. Stuff's going okay. All right, get this thing open real quick. So Bill did want to talk about housing, but first off, go to the next slide. We haven't thanked everybody enough for passing Measure H. Measure H was the sales tax that was last year, the 0.5% sales tax. This was so important to our city to be able to continue to provide the services that we have. We only went for 0.5%, and not a full cent, so we can just keep it at the same level. And why this, I'm telling you this right now, is we're gonna be launching a citizens oversight committee very soon now. And so watch out, we'd love to get somebody to go, people, we need citizens to sign up, and we'll appoint you to the Citizens Oversight Committee. All right, next slide. All right, housing, so I'll start first here. So RHNA, it's the Regional Housing Needs Assessment, and that it comes along every 7 years. And if you can see from this cute little plot, the fourth cycle, that was 14 years ago, 7 years ago, we only had to plan for 400 units. This last one, we all know, 2,114 units. And you can kind of think of this as kind of an upzoning plan. We have to create the land at the right densities, enough land at the right densities to provide this many housing units. And we went through this massive process, a multi-year process. It took forever. We were kind of out of compliance for a while, but we finally got HCD compliance earlier this year. Yay, go us. Here we're thinking we're out of the woods on this. Well, no. So a group called the Housing Action Coalition sued us. They sued us over this housing element. They were complaining about our methodologies, about some of the sites that we picked, all this stuff. But then all of a sudden we get a certified housing element, we're like, great, they're gonna drop the lawsuit. No, they didn't drop the lawsuit. They can still actually sue us. It's a thing. And so a couple of cities around the Bay Area also were targeted in this manner. We are in progress. We had to rehire a housing consultant in order to figure out how to handle this. It isn't over. Other cities have had to actually not pay them money, but put money into an affordable housing fund. That has been part of the settlements from these other cities. I don't know where this is gonna end up, but we are currently combating that. All right, next slide. The housing landscape. So over 200 bills have been passed since 2017. And basically, it's been concentrated on removing local oversight over housing projects. The thought is that if you get rid of zoning problems and deregulate, that it would be easier to build housing in cities. That's the concept behind all this. The problem is, right now we have almost no oversight over what happens in our city. We get a project that comes in, and the only thing left that we can actually do about a project is we can have our design objective standards. And so we can try to make it pretty. That's the concept. Our current objective standards are not great. And so our design review commission is reviewing them to try to beef them up, because literally it's the last thing that we have any control over right now. And that's a good job on design review to do that. So I want to say that we all know that the market controls how much housing is getting built. And everybody across the state is way behind in terms of meeting their RHNA numbers, our 2000 number. Everybody's way behind. And so this concept, this notion that the deregulation and getting rid of the city's inputs is going to actually produce the affordable housing that we need is getting challenged. There's been it was a study, a national study out of San Francisco that said this is actually not going to work. And so we understand that here in Lafayette. We're not against housing at all, but if nobody brings us projects, then there's nothing to build, and we're gonna get penalized for not building these things. And that doesn't seem right, it doesn't seem fair, and I'm saying that on my own, not representing the city or my city council, but that's my feeling on this. So the Woodbury design here, I just want to give you an example. I'm glad that Suzanne she put the slide on there, she put the picture there. I think all of us would agree that's a very nice looking project. This was done back when we had oversight of projects, where we could actually have input and say, no, we want it to have a certain quality, we want it to look a certain way. We love these big porches. Well, these projects don't come anymore. They're coming because the market is so tough, the developers want to make money, they make it as dense and as compact as possible. Like these large outdoor porches, no way. You know, they're not gonna build them anymore because it cuts out on their profits. And we can't force them. We can't force them to try to make them pretty or have nice facades or have nice setbacks from sidewalks. We just don't have any oversight anymore. So if you see projects going in, newer projects going in, that you're like, wow, that's surprising we would approve that. Understand, we have almost no control over it. So just letting you know where we are with that. All right, you can go to the next page. Okay, so this is really fun. This is our major projects map. And we are really proud of this map. Lafayette is not anti-housing, and we're doing really, really well. You know, based on the size of our city, look at how many projects we have. We have a ton of projects. The interesting ones are the ones in orange. These are the ones that are currently like under review that we're looking at now. And they're kind of a different range of projects. So this is the one that's above the crosses. Let me turn around here so I can point and go down. So this is the one where the crosses, and these are single family homes, actually with some ADUs. They're really pretty projects. 21, this is the one on Oak Hill right across from Millie's. And it took advantage of our recent housing element and our upzoning to make it a much bigger project than the one that they currently, that first submitted. They always wanted this bigger project. It's actually much prettier, to be honest, than the smaller project they were considering. But right after we upzoned, bam, got the new project in and we approved it. So that one's gonna come in right across from Millie's. This one over here is, I don't know, maybe you know closer how much closer it is on review. It is a bunch of townhomes. If you guys remember Corporate Terraces, and we had that Lafayette Lane, which was that huge project. It also had a Sunflower Hill affordable for developmentally disabled adults. It was gonna have a big John Muir Health Clinic in the front of it, much bigger project. Well, they lost their entitlements, and these guys figured they can sell townhomes and make more money than one of these multi-family units. That's a shift. That is a big shift in what we were expecting to get on that corner. We thought that corner could handle some more density because it's right there in the middle of town, easy to get in and out. But they're choosing not to. So back to the RENA numbers, since we're not getting very many units in our housing element, so we thought that we were gonna get more units on that site, we're gonna get a lot less. And so we have to consider that as part of our housing element and go, we're not gonna achieve our numbers there either. So hopefully we'll still be okay. But it's pretty exciting. And this one here is the 949 Moraga Road. I'm gonna talk about that in a couple of minutes. All right, next slide. SB 79. So now we've got our RENA and we did our own housing element and we did all of our upzoning. Things that kind of mess all that up is when the state passes new laws. And SB 79 is one that is on the governor's desk right now. He probably will sign it. And so Councilmember Jim Cervantes and I, we're our legislative committee. We went really hard against this particular bill. And our staff was amazing and outstanding and supported us. We worked with Senator Tim Grayson, Assemblymember Rebecca Barr-Kahan, even the Assembly member from the next district over, Anna Maria Farias, came and supported us as well. So what this is, again, this is crazy, sorry. Within a quarter mile of our BART station, there's our BART station, up to 80 units per acre, regardless of if it's single family homes right now, or if it's part of your housing element, or if it's where you think it's safe, you just have to upzone it to be that big. Then within a half a mile, up to 60 units per acre. So our current max right now in our housing element is 60 units per acre. So, and it's much smaller little areas. If you just do the math on this and go, okay, how many units could you get into the ovals there? It's about 25,000 units. Yeah, we have 10,000 today, and this is 25,000, more. Wow. So cities across the state went crazy. We all did. Any city that looks at this goes, this is nuts. And so what we did was kind of cool. We worked with Andy Conley, who is our, from the police department, and he's our emergency preparedness coordinator. And so he's like the emergency prep guy that goes, hey, Andy, what happens if we put that many units up here in Happy Valley Glen, and Happy Valley on those little teeny roads with single ingress and egress? What's gonna happen? He goes, oh my God, this is terrible. This is a real safety problem. This is a health and safety issue for our city, and I'm not gonna be able to get people out. See, what bills like this don't consider is that, you can build all this housing, that's fine, and they say, oh, it's gotta be, more fire protection. You still have to get the people out in a fire. They don't think like that, and I know they don't, because when Jim Cervantes met with the authors of this bill and told them about our problem, they're like, wow, I hadn't really thought of that. And you're like, then listen here. So what we tried to do, and why you can see this map is so funny, is that we overlaid this over our fire hazard severity zones. And so these are the high severity zones in orange. Yellow is moderate. And the blue lines are our evacuation routes. And so we decided, working with our emergency, our safety guy, we decided that a change to the bill that would exempt all those evacuation routes that have areas in high fire zones should just be exempted, right? You just need to exempt them from this bill. And that would get basically this whole area out, this whole area out, and this whole area out. It would still leave up Dolores and Quail Ridge. They would still be in. But it would get a lot of our dangerous areas exempted. And so we tried to get that modification, and they didn't go for it. They thought that too many cities were going to take advantage of that at the time we were trying to go. Instead, what ended up happening is right at the last minute, we saw the last wording of SB 79. Instead, what they did is they exempted all counties that are not urban counties. So right now, if you've got 16 train stations or more, you're an urban county. If you have 15 or less, you're not. So instead of taking this much more, holistic view and exempting zones that are unsafe, they exempted like 50 counties in the state. Super surprising move. Super surprising. There's only like 7 counties left that are going to be impacted by SB 79. And that's how they got it passed. But it took a huge amount of change and a huge amount of input to make that happen. And Senator Tim Grayson, he did the heavy lift for us. And so, thank you, Senator Grayson. So that's pretty much what Jim and I have been working on and staff for a really long time now. And we're happy. We think it's going to go into law. But around here, it's only San Francisco, but also San Mateo, Santa Clara, LA, Orange County, San Diego.
Alameda.
Oh, and Alameda too, that's right, Alameda County too.
Sacramento.
Is Sacramento in there? Okay, got it, yes. So, still, the people that live in those cities, they're gonna be really impacted. And so, but anyways, at least we're out of it right now. All right, next slide. Oh no, keep it here, sorry. MTC policy. So not only do we get Sacramento doing these massive changes on us, MTC, which is our regional Metropolitan Transportation Commission. And I'm gonna have to read this because it hasn't come before council, but I had our city manager prepare this because I was unclear about exactly what this is going. So, but basically in a nutshell, MTC is the Bay Area's transportation authority. Not housing authority, but transportation authority. And they do all of the funding for the highways, the freeways, and we've gotten a lot of grants from MTC over the years. That's what they do, that's what they're supposed to do. But basically, a regulation came down. So cities are also dealing with similar regulations within a half a mile of BART from the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. The policy requires upzoning, the adoption of several housing policies, and commitments to fund them. OBAG funding is tied to our compliance. So basically, they're gonna pull our transportation grants unless we follow what they say we have to do to upzone around BART. It's a costly and time-consuming process, and MTC has received many complaints from cities across the Bay Area. Lafayette, Orinda, and Walnut Creek met with the MTC chair last week to discuss our concerns, and the matter is on the next city council agenda for discussion. That's next Tuesday. So, in the end, just to summarize here, even though we have a certified housing element, we went through years of the process that we're supposed to follow to make the land available to build on, we can still get sued, because we are. Sacramento can write bills that completely upend our housing element, like SB 79 would have, and our regional government is now able to completely upend our housing element in order to get grant funding. And so it's just, sorry, I have to be very honest with you guys, it's absurd. It's absurd that, we do what we're supposed to be doing, and then they're pointing all these other directions too, and we just have to follow and comply. And all in the name of building more affordable units. This is not gonna work, right? It's why there's people pushing back on these things, because it's just really gotten over the top. And so things like Our Neighborhood Voices, which is the initiative that I was working on for a long time. I took a pause this year, but I'll hopefully be going back next year. Was it Livable California? It's just a bad way to run cities, right? This is a tough way to plan for your city. When you're supposed to be building affordable housing, you're supposed to be taking care of the health and safety of your residents and doing all those things that you expect us to do for you. And our heads are spinning right now, trying to comply with all these unfunded mandates. I will take Q&As at the end, but keep it. But basically, these are all just unfunded mandates that we are trying to comply with. And it's just getting tough. Anyways, all right, next slide. Now we'll go on to some happy things, because that was all the bad news, right? The happy things, 949 Moraga Road, Sunflower Hill and Saha, they are affordable housing builders and developers, and Sunflower Hill runs a program for developmentally disabled adults. They have one over in Pleasanton, I think one over in Livermore, and highly successful. We worked also this spring really, really hard to try to get this project, and it's all a point system. There's a scorecard and all these things that a project has to do to be able to be the best project it can be and win grants. And so we worked really, really hard with them, and we found out about a week and a half ago, we got $19.5 million from the state for this project. Big news. It's only about a third of what we need, but it was a huge first step. It shows that we're doing the right thing, and we will get support for this. So now we're working on like Candace Anderson for Measure X funds, and there's some, what's the other,
Tax credits.
Tax credits, there's a whole bunch of other hurdles. I think the clock kind of starts now. We've got like 2 years to get it before this grant maybe goes away, but we're trying really hard, and the city's donating the land. If they get the funding, we're donating the land to them. And that was also another point on their scorecard that helped them get across the edge. So that's really great news. All right, one more. Next slide. Okay, ADUs. So believe it or not, ADU production is outpacing our multifamily production right now. It's the way we're getting the most housing in our city. And part of our housing element said that we were going to try to encourage people even more to build ADUs. And so we rolled out this ADU incentive program. We've got reduced fees. We've got accelerated things that you can find on the web. If you can see it's tough to read the website, but you can see all of it on there. And we're getting pre-approved ADU plans that we're going to be posting up there. So it just makes it quicker and quicker and quicker. And there's also Senator Glazer got some rebates that you can apply for. So trying to even boost our ADU production. That's going really well. Okay, next slide. Oh, have you guys seen the construction by the reservoir? Right? Oh, you guys, this is just such a blessing of a project. Cancer Support Community, it's part of a national group, and they picked Lafayette right next to that beautiful site right next to the reservoir, got their funding, and they already broke ground. Should be open at the end of next year. It's not for treatment, it's for support. It's support for the person who has cancer as well as their families. And it'll be a regional draw. People will come from all over the region, and it's free. It's just gonna be such a gem for us in Lafayette. We're all really super excited about it. All right, next slide. Oh yeah, pathways, this is exciting. So we are at, they call it 65% design of the School Street bike lanes. You can see the multi-use pathway and Topper Lane pathways. And so we had a meeting last week. And so the School Street one was never all that contentious. The Topper Lane one has been a little bit of a struggle to get the people who live along Topper Lane to get it. But our transportation engineer and our planning department worked really, really hard. And we've got buy-in now from all people on School Street and Topper Lane for these projects. And they're gonna be great. So we should be done with that, and we're aiming to get them built next summer. Or actually we have to start before next summer, but we'll do the super impactful stuff when the kids are out of school. We'll try to keep it low impact before then. But this is gonna be a really well used and nice looking project. All right, this next one is something that, sorry, this is cool. It's the one after this. The BART walkway to downtown. This is a project that you guys might have seen, it was like 7 years ago? It started a really long time ago and got put on hold because there's multi-agencies involved and everybody's pointing fingers and it couldn't get done, but actually it is gonna get done. And so if you see what it looks like here today, it's just kind of plain and not all that attractive. It's gonna turn into this. It's just gonna look and feel like a much grander entrance to our downtown. One of the best things about Art and Wine is that people can take BART to come here to Lafayette. And if you go out, not the north, but the south station, you're like 200 yards to the middle of our downtown. There are very few BART stations that have access to a downtown like ours. And so we're going to take advantage of that and make it something beautiful. This has been funded, it's hardly any city funding at all. So, no real impact on our funding. All right, next one. Okay, this is kind of a great reveal. We're getting really excited about this. As you can see here, this is Highway 24, and the purple, this is Mount Diablo Boulevard. Right next to the freeway, this dotted line in here, that is a proposed pathway on the aqueduct land. You know, there's like an empty patch of green land, and well, the East Inlet Aqueduct goes right under there. And so far, as part of the Lennar project, we were able to get this part built. And there's actually a really fun, it's right behind here. It has a really pretty pathway, but it stops, I think at Dolores Lane, right? Yeah. And we now have in this little black box, we have the money for the design, as well as Patrick was saying like 95% lock on the funding to build from Dolores to the BART station. And it'll even have a bridge over Happy Valley Boulevard, Happy Valley Road, which is like super cool. We've never done anything like that before. But the big plan is to take it all the way to Pleasant Hill Road, right? And that is where we'd be building on the green aqueduct land here. And the nice part is that right there at Brown, you can actually go underneath Highway 24. There's already a path there, so it would be a protected bike lane underneath Highway 24, which would make this path so much more useful and more safe than trying to negotiate these big intersections or anything. So as you see here, it goes to Brown, and then you can drop down into the city, or underneath the freeway, along Deer Hill, and go around the Terraces project. It's if you remember, the Homes project also had a trail that went around the hill. This one's gonna be bumped a little bit closer to the Caltrans, or into the Caltrans right away, but we still have enough room to build it. And so if we can make that, then we've got all the way from West Lafayette to Pleasant Hill Road on a protected bike lane. And people are getting really excited about this, as we are talking about it. We're gonna have to go out and sell this to our legislators and even maybe Mark DeSaulnier, because Mark DeSaulnier came up with the money for the School Street and Topper, and try to get this thing built. I do want to caveat is that the East End Aqueduct project, part right there, they were saying they're fixing it, it leaks like crazy apparently, and so it may not be another 5 years for them to finish that project, but we can start on the other ends too, right? So we can avoid the aqueduct, we can start on the other ends and make that the last thing that connects them all. But if we do that, what it means is that all those concerns that we've had about trying to make bike lanes or better pathways along Mount Diablo Boulevard, that goes away, right? And because we're tight down there, right? And we've got the medians, and so adding bike lanes would have made us get rid of a lane. It's part of our evacuation routes. You don't want to be getting rid of lanes, we know evacuation routes. So this would be the alternative to really having to change our downtown and still providing access for bike and ped through our city. So staff is super excited about it, which actually makes me super excited about it, because when they want it, they're gonna work on it and we have a chance at it. So I don't know, I just wanted to show you guys part of the good news. All right, so next slide. Oh, and this should have been more on the unhappy part of the talk. Sorry, it's the East Bay Bud. They're having a community meeting. I don't know where it is actually.
It's online.
It's just that's what it is. It's just Zoom. All right. So on Thursday night, they're going to talk about the projects, and yes, they're going to shorten the tower. We've been through that. They've made their decision. The concession that we got from East Bay Mud is that the tower, the first tower that they presented to us. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't even, both Carl and I, we were flabbergasted at how ugly it was. It was literally a post with a super, utilitarian looking platform on the top with a crane. And we went, wait, you can take our beautiful tower and you're gonna put it there. And you can look down on it too, and it was just super ugly. And so at least we got a compromise where they did put a top on it that looks kind of like our current top of our tower. So it'll be a short with a little top, but at least it has a top. And so all the crane and the utilitarian parts are mostly hidden. So, and it'll work better in an earthquake. So that's all good. So it's not the end of the world, not what we wanted, but it's not awful. But please go to that meeting if you are interested. All right. And then, please join us. We've got some openings on commissions and committees. Like I said, the oversight committee is coming out soon, but we also have some openings on commissions. We have some recent, on TransDirt, it's all full now for the first time in a while, so that is exciting. But please go to our website if you are interested. And I think that's it. I think thanks. Questions?
I have a microphone.
I hope you remembered your question.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay. Does this work?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna find you, and you have to hold it like this, about this close. This is not good, this is good. Okay, so I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
So I'll go first.
Yeah.
So Contra Costa is not, county is not part of SB 79.
Correct.
Okay. Alameda is, and that stretches all the way out to Livermore and beyond.
Oh yeah, Alameda is definitely impacted.
Yeah, okay.
And so Oakland Hills, Berkeley Hills, in these fire zones,
Yeah.
I don't think that they have a train. I don't know if they have any bus service that might qualify for us. I don't know. I don't know where their areas are going to be.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
big impact there. Okay, another subject, the.
Louder.
Okay, the school Topper Street project. Does that have funding to be built?
Yes.
Okay.
Mark DeSaulnier. Was it $3.5 million? $3.5 million. Woo-hoo.
But there was some concern that if it wasn't, as it was originally proposed, that some of that funding would not happen.
Correct. And that's why we worked so hard with the Topper Lane folks to get, instead of a super wide, all the way down straight, take down all the trees on Topper Lane, which was a concern. Instead, it's more of a meandering 4 to 6 foot path that saves a lot of the trees.
Okay,
And so works through that.
and we have funding to build it. So-
And we have funding to build it.
Is there any funding to at least do the plan on St. Mary's Road? You know, we were trying to,
Oh, no, we don't, it's on our list to study. And
okay,
so that would be a drop, what we're referring to is a drop-off area on St. Mary's Road. So people don't actually have to go in all the way on School Street at all, they just drop the kids from Burton Valley out there.
on the dirt right
It's just dirt right now, I know.
now. Okay, okay, those were my questions off the top of my head. So I'll let anybody else, okay, wait, we'll come over here.
Oh, no, go over here, she had raised her hand a while ago during the thing,
Okay.
so I followed the speaker first.
Well, I've lived here 58 years, and I moved here because it was the country. And, there's so many things that irritate me, I don't even know where to begin. I want to thank you so much, Susan, for having the ability that you have, the strength that you have. Start with the crosses, we're a military family. My husband's father was lost on a submarine they never found, and he grew up with no father. And they're the crosses. We were so offended. I went to all those meetings. They marched people in here from God knows where and stuck those crosses there. And, you know, there should be a military cemetery. They don't belong there. So now the government's telling us what our community's gonna look like. And Scott Wiener in San Francisco, he seems to think that if there's a bus line, that he can build 9 plexes or whatever, which means he could go down Happy Valley Road, because there is a bus, and build on empty lots or on parcels that are an acre or more. And now you have the ADUs. If you put one on your property, are they gonna turn around and tell you, okay, now you have to take somebody to live there?
No,
That
No,
could be down the road. So there's so many things that our lives are being run by the government, and it really ticks me off.
I'm so sorry. There's a lot of people there are with you on this.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Following up on Phil in here, didn't they pass a law that if you did an ADU, that now you can split your land? You can split your land and sell the ADU? There was something.
If your city adopts it, we could choose as a city to allow that to happen. And we have not yet, as a city, chosen to allow you to sell an ADU as a separate parcel. But if you guys want it, we could change that. We haven't had any requests, and so we've just been ignoring it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody else? Oh. You gotta be relative.
We moved here from Kensington 28 years ago, which is actually part of Contra Costa County. So they're going to be exempt from 79, but all of their evacuation routes go through Berkeley, and those evacuation routes we knew 25 years ago weren't adequate. So this whole thing was not thought out very well. My specific two questions, though, with regard to Lafayette, is to what extent do our local zoning laws, our hillside ordinance, what are those still in effect?
They are still in effect. And so what has happened, the exceptions for things like that are like SB 9. SB 9, if you are on a hillside and you have a single family home, you're allowed to split your lot and build 2 duplexes on it plus an ADU. So you can make one lot and make from 4 to 6 units. If you're in a hillside zone, we have to allow it, but we have to allow it to be like 800 square foot or smaller. And so we do have some control over it, but we have to allow something to go in. And so that's how most of the cities dealt with that. You can't build a huge thing that defies our housing ordinance just because of SB 9. You can build a small thing that we will make sure fits on your property. We have to allow something, but it doesn't have to be very big.
Does that include the ridgeline ordinance where
Yes.
you can't build anything?
Yes.
So you could build now above the
Yes, you
ridgeline?
could do this on a ridgeline, as far as I was concerned, yes. You could do an SB, but it could only be, was it 800 square foot, I think it was?
Yeah, I'll double check and let Dr.
Yeah.
Tal know.
Yeah, but then SB 79 is the one that blew everything out of the water. I mean, that was the one that just, that's the biggest, nastiest bill I've seen ever, I think.
Thanks. Okay.
Quick question about SB 79. However it came together to reach the result, have there been statements to the effect of it's not over, and can we expect in a future legislative session sometime soon another effort to get back some of those counties that were excluded?
Always, every year. And this is why I don't typically fight bills, individual bills, and was fighting so hard with this initiative. It would be a constitutional amendment that would bring back local control. End of story. And because you can't fight these bills. I mean, you can't even if you sue the government over them, they'll just change the bill the next year to get around the lawsuit. And so they will keep coming. And Senator Scott Wiener, like I said, since 2017, he started off doing these really big bills, and nobody had the stomach for it back then. And so he got smart. The guy's a really smart guy, without a doubt. He breaks them up into all these little pieces, but then they all work together. And so you don't know until it all happens, what just happened to your city. And you're like, wow, okay, now I get the vision. But that's what he does. SB 79 was unusual for him. He hasn't done that in a while. He hasn't come out for a mega bill like that. It got pared down, but absolutely we can expect this to continue until we stop it.
Okay. All right.
I have it actually on that.
Okay, just one second.
Just I'll just say it really loud. So, if we know that Scott Wiener is going to do that, and we have this MTC coming in saying that they're gonna increase frequency, and they're gonna start adding stuff as the population goes up. So why did the city decide not to continue to oppose the bill, knowing good and well that's what Scott Wiener's up to? And why? I mean, that to me is, I don't understand why.
If you listen to our discussion at council, it was a political move. It was a very political move to basically thank Senator Grayson for doing what he did. And we know, like you said, we know where this can happen the next year, but this is the first time where we were fighting against a bill and something actually happened. Something actually went in our favor. That's never happened for us before as a city. And so, you know what, we have to keep working with Senator Grayson. And this was a thank you, and we'll pull down our opposition. It was a purely political decision based on wanting to thank Senator Grayson for working so hard. But you're right, all these other objections to it still stand, but Lafayette is out, right? And thank you. Temporarily, and so the next time, we hope he'll be there to fight for us again, right? When the next one comes.
One of the things I think needs to be acknowledged too is the carve out for the high fire zone is only good until 2031, which is in 6
I
years.
didn't know, I did not know that.
And if those buildings can meet the standards of the current fire codes, then that exemption also goes away.
And that's why we have to push really hard on Senator Grayson and on everybody else to put in real exemptions for fire zones. This was the first time they even put anything in for fire zones, right? That's the first bill where it was actually an exemption for very high fire zones. That's the first time we've seen that. And so, to me, our best tactic is to scratch that and just start adding it to every bill from here on out. And if Senator Grayson will agree with us, then he might be able to make it happen.
I'd like to see it go one step further as the gentleman from Kensington, I think it was, that I think we need to make sure that we're communicating to other
And our fire chiefs need to stand up. Right at the end too, Contra Costa Fire took down their opposition to the bill as well. So Confire, that was a good move on their part too, that helped us do this.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can anybody hear me anyway?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Susan, you know what I feel about SB 79. I just keep thinking about the big picture, the disingenuous nature of this entire quote-unquote housing crisis. And I mean, SB 79 is pure government overreach. It is a violation of our constitutional rights.
Well, it
As a
is.
city and as
Hey,
individuals.
Libby, I'm gonna have to cut you off, okay? I agree, if 79 gets passed, the city of LA will sue the state. That is, they've laid the groundwork, and so, but they're the only kind of city that can do that, right? We're just
Right.
not big enough, because we couldn't do it. Suing the state by Lafayette, I agree, but if they decide to sue over SB 79, it'll be interesting to watch. You know, they're a big, powerful city. But the sad part is that you do that, and they're spending all this money on lawsuits and not on the Olympics and rebuilding the fire damage zones, right? And so I'm glad, I hope they do it, and we'll all be watching. But
Do you have one question?
thank you.
Well,
Well, you come back. Okay, one more thing, now that I thought about it. So, when we went through the brain damage of this housing element, figuring it all out and all the ways, I thought along Mount Diablo, we had a requirement that at least there was retail or something on the first level or something. I thought we had. But then I've heard things about that Walgreens site that I'm confused on. And I know it's still in the planning phase, but is that only residential or would that be some?
Yeah, we can't enforce the retail on the first floor anymore. Of course, there was a law from Sacramento that said housing is by right. And so they can choose to build retail on the first floor or they can choose not to. We can't enforce our ordinance that says it's gotta be, you know, retail or commercial on the first floor anymore. And so, yeah, did you find out more by asking her this exact question yesterday, going, I think somebody may ask about that?
It
Do you
does
have-
have commercial on the ground floor, it's not deemed complete.
Okay, so the application at the Walgreens is not deemed complete yet, but it does have some retail on the first floor. And so basically that's a project where if it didn't have retail on the first floor, we wouldn't be able to say anything about it. But we're thankful that they are putting retail.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when the project comes in.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, it's sort of a follow-up to what you just asked. We had some conference calls, a couple of us on the LHC with some of your staff members. This was like last year. And where the Walgreens store was, it started out saying it was gonna be this 10-story building. And then there's several other around town that are, and the last thing I want to happen to the house, place I grew up in, came back, grew up in it some more, still growing up, is I don't want us to turn into Walnut Creek. Walnut Creek is, I mean,
a mess.
yeah, I mean, you know, we used to get on the Greyhound and take it to Walnut Creek to go to Capwell's, and, you know, we thought we were in Paris or something.
well, it's a different kind of city.
We cannot let these guys ruin our town.
Or congest it up so much that it's even harder to get around, or we can't get out in case of fires, right? I thoroughly agree. We're doing our best.
I don't want to insult Walnut Creek. I thought about doing a banner once. Let's not be Walnut Creek.
Hilarious. We'll put it on all the banners.
Is, I'll ask another question, okay, so, since Moraga has to meet their housing requirements, is there, I guess there's no impact studies on the stuff anymore. It doesn't affect Lafayette, you know, their housing. Is,
Oh, absolutely.
do we have any, I mean, we don't get any more for roads or widening, like
No.
we can.
No, we don't.
So they just get more congested.
What we do have is a grant from the county, right, yeah, where they're gonna be installing smart signals on all of our routes of significance, which is in and out of Moraga, both on St. Mary's and Moraga Road, on Moraga Way in Orinda, and down Mount Diablo Boulevard, right? And so we are gonna be able to control the signals on those roads, and that's gonna be a huge upgrade, multi-million-dollar upgrade, because they realize these are our evacuation routes, and without any improvements on it, with all the building that we're expecting, it's a real mess. And so the county is stepping up, and so we've got the Smart Signals project that is gonna be installed in the next couple of years, which is great news for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, anybody else have anything else they would like to, Carl?
Just a variation. Measure H, you mentioned Measure H. How's it going with hiring staff at the city? And that's maybe more of an rude question, but have we been getting back to staffing levels?
Sure seems like it, yeah. We've been having a lot of introductions at the city council meetings. We've been very pleased. What else do we still have open?
We have 3 planning positions open, and then that's it.
3 planning, that's it. That's great, yeah, we got really lucky.
Okay, all right, Susan.
Any more thing about building your own city offices down where the police department is?
At Boswell's, you mean?
Yeah.
All right, so we just donated our land, or potentially donating land at 949 Moraga Road, right? And so
On Moraga Road?
that's for the Sunflower Hill project, right across from Lafayette Elementary. In addition, we tried to purchase 2 properties around the theater in order to get, possibly more parking down there, so the Campana project, and then also a Campana property, plus the one right next to the theater. But the one right next to the theater fell through, and without that, so Campana to the theater, we could have had a back route to the theater back there. We could have cut through owning those 2 properties. But the one next to the theater failed to sell to us. So now we've put Campana on the market again. And so, but we don't have a lot of extra money right now because we bought these properties and stuff like that. So maybe now that if we sell this and do well enough, the Boswell site is still for sale, we could consider it again.
That would be great to have in town, people can see City of Lafayette,
Right.
the police. I think
Yes.
right now it's really hard for some people to find where the city office is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have a hard time finding it. I'm glad there's a stoplight there now. I used to drive by it once in a while.
I wear all the rocks and the stuff all,
Yeah.
you know.
But at least it's a stoplight now, so,
Okay, any other questions that we'd like to ask? Otherwise?
Anything else?
Oh, no, do you have another question? Okay.
I'll ask.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you guys.
Thank you all.
Really, really great. Thank you guys.